Hello and welcome back. As always, my name is Laser, and today we're talking about the latest Heroes of the Storm patch notes. I do believe this patch is called 17.1, but I might be wrong. Just to clarify, this is after the big 5 hero rework patch, and we're getting a little bit of balancing. So let's jump right in. Dampen magic is the first one to get changed. Maximum charges has been reduced from 2 to 1, and duration has been increased from 1 second to 1.5 seconds. Make no mistakes, this is a nerf. Now, don't confuse Dampen magic with Spell Shield, okay? It's not the same thing. Dampen magic, to my knowledge, is only available to Stitches from level 1, and overall this is a nerf that, well, affects only Stitches at this point. So there you go, less ability damage mitigation for Mr. Stitches. Mighty Gust, about bloody time. Cooldown increase from 40 to 60 seconds. Now, Blizzard lowered the cooldown to 40 seconds just to try to get players to actually use Mighty Gust, because everybody was using Shock and Awe. Why? Well, Shock and Awe does damage, so I want to do damage. Okay, so there you go. Now it's been brought up to 60-second cooldown. From my point of view, this is warranted. 40-second cooldown on Mighty Gust on a huge disengage tool or an even engage tool, okay, was absolutely retarded. Okay, nothing short of that. Okay, you would be able to disengage from a bad situation. Maybe the enemy team caught you off ground. Okay, they caught you off guard, you're just gonna use Mighty Gust, then you're gonna hang around for a little bit, the cooldown will be up and you can use it again, and so on and so forth. The value this heroic brings, especially for example something like, I don't know, boss steals, okay, not only disengages and engages, okay, so definitely a very good change from my point of view. It was too strong, and yes, it did need a bigger cooldown. I don't know about the mana cost. Mana cost I think is fine, but yes, the 50% increase in cooldown from my point of view is absolutely justified. Maybe it's a tad too mean, but I really don't think so. Okay, let's move on to Illidan. He got a bunch of nerfs, which was, well, come on, it was coming, you know. With Rare's first, heal amount granted per basic attacks decreased from 40 to 30% of damage dealt. So this is a flat nerf to his trait. Firsting Blade, basic attack healing during sweeping strike decreased from 60% to 50%, so again, less sustained for Illidan. Illidan, at the current point, we gotta keep in mind that he was one to be first ban, first pick, okay? In Hero League and Team League at a competitive level, Illidan and Li-Ming were kind of like the top two priorities to either pick or ban, so the nerfs were obviously incoming. Dive Q, a friend or foe, the range bonus has been decreased from 33% to 20%. Friend or foe was more or less, well, it was becoming the go-to option for Illidan. Now you get less bonus range, so you used to get 33% bonus range, now you only get 20%. I think friend or foe would still be good, and is this warranted? Well, Illidan did have a lot of survivability, but I hate to see nerfs the mobility. Nerf the damage mitigation. Nerf the sustain if you so desire, okay, because that's player's decision. But why do you gotta nerf mobility, okay? Because again, that is all about the player's skill. How is he well equipped to actually use that? I can understand the flat numbers, but this, the flat numbers as in actual healing and mitigation, but for actual mobility talents, I'm not a fan of this. But I still think friend or foe will still be good. Reflexive block, next one. Block charges granted after using dive have been reduced from 3 to 2. Again, yes, it was needed, okay? From my point of view, this was warranted on Illidan. 3 stacks of block after using dive, okay, Q, which you would get it over and over and over again, okay, was a little bit too strong, especially against heavy AA team compositions. 3 stacks, that was huge. Again, very good change from my point of view. Illidan was too strong, too much sustain and too much mitigation, and it is being cut down. Sweeping Strike W, Battle Assault talent. Now, if you don't know but the Battle Assault talent, this was the one at level 1 when you would go with your Sweeping Strike for multiple targets, multiple heroes, okay, at least 2 heroes, you would get a damage increased, the bonus, you would get a bonus in damage for your basic attacks, okay? This has been increased from 100% to 125%, but the problem is that at level 1 you have Immolation. Okay, so at level 1 you have Immolation, which is a very, very good option to have on Illidan, and it's very rarely the case when you don't want it. And you also have the quest talent, which will increase your basic attack damage. My go-to option was Immolation, or very rarely did I go for the questing talent, and Battle Assault was like really at the bottom of the list. I would mostly never play with this one. Unbound talent, cooldown reduction is now also granted when Sweeping Strike hits non-heroic enemies. So it used to be like if you hit anything, okay, while you're using your W, you would not get the cooldown reduction, okay, if you had Unbound. Now you can hit minions, structures, or whatever, just don't hit a hero and you will still get the cooldown reduction. However, the cooldown reduction has been modified as well from 5 seconds to 4 seconds. So there you go. Is this a buff to Unbound? Meh. Okay, I like Unbound, I like going through walls, okay? But the simple fact of it is that at that specific tier there were better options like friend or foe. Let's move on. Kael'thas. Now Kael'thas got some buffs. His win rate is kind of suffering right now, and he also been plagued by a bug which made him too strong, and people actually had to ban him in competitive because of the bug and so on and so forth. Anyway, the bug is fixed, and here are the buffs. You got about a 5% increase in health and a little bit of health regen as well, so more survivability for Kael. Flame Strike. The range of Flame Strike has been increased by 10%. That's the actual casting range, not the area of effect. Okay, damage also has been increased by a huge amount. Look at this, guys, approximately 60% extra damage for your Flame Strike, but Flame Strike damage is no longer increased when empowered by Verdant Sphere. So now the only reason you would want to empower your Flame Strike is to increase the actual area of effect of the spell, no longer extra damage. This, from my point of view, opens up gameplay possibilities while not having to keep your your Verdant Sphere stack necessarily for Flame Strike. You can use it for something else, maybe a W, maybe an empowered Gravity Lapse, something along those lines, like it. Overall, Living Bomb W damage dealt over time has been increased by approximately 10%, no touch up to scaling. Explosion damage has been increased by 20%, yeah, by about 20-25%. So the thing about explosion damage, I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but even if you had a bomb on a super low target, okay, on a super low HP target, it would still blow up and it would do like nothing. You would just looking like, wow, that did almost nothing, okay? It was really underwhelming, and I do like the buff to Living Bomb. Gravity Lapse E cooldown decreased from 13 seconds to 12 seconds. The mana cost has been decreased to match the cooldown. And the Netherwind talent also has been adjusted to actually match the mana cost for your E ability. There you go, whatever, okay, just 1 second cooldown, it's not even a 10%er. Gravity Crush talent, the bonus damage taken by enemies hit increased by 25% to 30%. They really want us to play with Gravity Crush. Will we start using it more now because we get an extra 5%? It is 30% extra, but keep in mind this is only from Kael'thas' damage. With Kael'thas, the thing is you spend a whole lot more time positioning and running away than actually dealing damage depending on the fight, okay? Because it's very easy to pick off Kael'thas. He's got like no mobility, okay? He's got no increased movement speed. He barely has any damage mitigation by the time you actually get the shield, if you did pick up the shield at level 1. I don't know about Gravity Crush, I really don't. I think from my point of view, kinda Gravity Crush, the actual design philosophy behind this talent goes against Kael'thas' playstyle, okay? So there you go. Alright, let's move on to Li-Ming's baby. Dominance talent, health restored, decreased from 25% to 20% of maximum health. So in team fights, you know with Li-Ming, kill. She would get her health back really quick with every single kill, not only resets and so on and so forth. This is a considerable nerf to Dominance from my point of view, and it overall hurts the teleport build more than anything else. Okay, it's a nerf to her team fight sustain, if I can even call such a thing. There you go, team fight sustain, a nerf to that. Arcane Orb damage has been reduced overall by 10%, okay? The initial amount, the smallest amount you could do with it, and the maximum amount that is at max range. Overall, 10% less damage. The scaling has not been touched up, only the flat values. The cooldown, however, has been decreased by 20% from 10 seconds to 8 seconds, so you'll be able to be more spammy with it. Also, the mana cost has been reduced appropriately to match the cooldown, okay? So if you're thinking, but I'm gonna run out of mana, not really, okay? The mana cost has been reduced as well, so it's okay. Overall, is this a buff or a nerf? It cuts down on her burst. Now, Li-Ming will still remain bursty, just less bursty because of this, okay? Just a tiny bit, not too much. Triumvirate talent cooldown reduction decreased from 6 to 5 seconds. Zay's Vengeance talent no longer causes Triumvirate to deal reduced damage to enemies that are close to Li-Ming. Now, you will see that all the changes to Li-Ming, we're gonna get into the teleport in a second, kinda now encourage us to play a more Arcane Orb centric build, which I'm not really in favor of, simply because she is labeled as a hard to play hero, and being an Arcane Orb dispenser 5 miles behind your front line is not exactly skilled, okay? I know there are people that don't think this way, but I don't think that orb is really that hard to miss. So there you go. Let's keep on going to teleport. Calamity talent area of effect has been reduced by 10%. Illusionist talent minimum amount of damage taken in order to refresh teleport's cooldown increased from 50% to 20% of maximum health. So you see all these changes, okay? They are nerfing the teleport build. Okay, they got something against the teleport belt. God knows why, whatever. I'm not gonna read the dev comments on this one. And they're encouraging more a W build for mid, okay? With the changes through Zay's Vengeance, okay? No longer causes Triumvirate to deal reduced damage to enemies that are close to Li-Ming. There you go. I don't know. I love Li-Ming. I love playing Li-Ming. She is one of my most fun heroes. Okay, I don't have favorites, but I do enjoy playing Li-Ming. I like the teleport build kind of most of all because I don't know, it was just the coolest to play, for me at least. I'm not really a fan of these changes, not necessarily because they're nerfs. I'm okay with nerfing. I would just like to see her pushed more into a more harder playstyle, if you want to, okay? And no changes to Charge Blast, which would have been really good. Finally, for Li-Ming, Disintegrate cooldown has been increased from 20 to 30 seconds. I do believe this is a welcome change from my point of view. She could just use Disintegrate to clear minions. I think this is more towards discouraging that because, again, 20-second cooldown. Okay, I'm just gonna use my Disintegrate to clear this minion wave. Okay, they're all lined up quite nicely. I'm gonna clear the minion when, by the time the next team fight strikes, I'm gonna be able to use it again. I think it's a cut down on her wave clear from one point of view because in team fights this doesn't matter. In team fights doesn't matter simply because as long as you can actually get the ball rolling, okay, and get the resets, you're still gonna be able to pop Disintegrate after Disintegrate after Disintegrate, as long as you actually have the mana, of course. So in team fights, I don't think it really matters all that much, but it does hurt her wave clear a little bit. For all Sundering, stun duration has been reduced from 1.5 seconds to 1.25 seconds, and on this one we do need to read the dev comments because there is some important stuff here. We want to make some basic improvements to a lot of these lesser picked over lower win rate heroic abilities. Most of these are pretty simple changes to make them more enticing, like adding more damage, reducing cooldowns, and lowering mana cost. We realize that the primary use case of abilities like Lily's Water Dragon or ATC Stage Dive is not damage, but having more of it might help them feel more effective. We're trying to do something a little bit different with Brightwing's Emerald Wind and Malfurion's Twilight's Dream by compensating for some of the support capability you miss out on by picking these heroics. We're excited to see how these go, and in Thrall's case, Sundering was a little too strong and we're reducing its stun duration. Now, I'm gonna read that last part, okay, all four, the first part, but the last part I'm gonna read it like everybody picks Sundering, nobody goes for Earthquake, please pick Earthquake, okay? I don't think it's justified. 1.5 seconds, not that big of a deal. Let's keep in mind, yes, it does have a huge area of effect, however, it does have a wind up to it. You can interrupt knockback Thrall during that animation. Not only that, it's a heroic on an 80-second cooldown. It's supposed to be strong. Now this kind of goes against their mentality with let's buff heroics to actually fear heroic. Okay, and the damage Sundering does is, I don't know, decent? Let's call it decent. The actual damage, that's not what you use Sundering for. You use Sundering to engage. Very rarely do I find myself in a position to use Sundering as a finisher. Tychus, health has been increased by approximately, how much did they give you, man? 10%? Yeah, 10% increased Tychus' health. Health regen also has been increased by 10%. Master Assassin talent, I do believe this one has level 4, I think, yes. Attack speed bonus per stack has been decreased from 2 to 1. This is a huge nerf to Master Assassin, and maximum number of stacks increased from 10 to 15. Now Master Assassin from my point of view was the option to have from multiple nice options at level 4. This is either at level 4 or 7, I can't remember right now. But Master Assassin was the way to go from my point of view on Tychus. This is, however, is a huge nerf. Not only are you not gonna get 20% bonus attack speed, you're gonna get a maximum of 15, and you're gonna need 15 takedowns, not 10. Huge nerf to Master Assassin. We might be looking towards other option at this specific talent here. Minigun trait, the damage bonus has been increased from 1.5% to 2% of target's maximum health. However, this is a huge buff. Okay, keep in mind, Tychus' attack speed, unbuffed and nothing untalented, is 4 per second. So this matters a whole lot from my point of view. The bigger they are, I do believe this one is on the same talent here as Master Assassin. Damage bonus increased from 3 to 4% of target's maximum health. This is while minigun is active, again, if I'm not mistaken. So again, a very good increase here. This is a 33% increase to the damage bonus. Cool. Do I like the Tychus changes? It would seem that Tychus had a really shitty win rate. I honestly, from my testing on the PTR and actually playing the guy, I didn't feel like it, but then again, I would never really pick a Tychus unless I'm fighting a super beefy team composition, okay? If I'm not fighting a super beefy team composition, I will always have better options than Tychus, okay? He fit that niche. He fit that niche very well. I don't know why they're making these changes, but again, his win rate currently is pretty shit. So there you go. Specialist Abattoir, Evolved Monstrosity, maximum minion stacks increase from 30 to 40 and health increase by approximately 10%. A little bit under 7%, something like that. Please see Frost's developer comment above. Okay, so again with the heroics making them more heroic, but let's nerf Sundering for no actual real reason, at least from my point of view. Anyway, so I don't play with Evolved Monstrosity. I rarely see the point. Evolved Monstrosity is a pusher talent, okay? If you want to build side pusher Abattoir, this might be the way to go. Will this make a real difference in choosing your heroic? Are you gonna go for Evolved Monstrosity instead of the clone, the ultimate evolution? I don't think so, but again, you will still pick Evolved Monstrosity if you're building straight pusher, but you would still do that today. I don't know, there you go. You Abattoir mad players, let me know how this actually affects Abattoir, but I don't think it makes that much of a difference. Brightwing Emerald Dream, now this is an interesting change. Check this out, guys. Now passively increases Soothing Mist healing by 8%. Now, some players jumped the gun and said, oh, flat 8% increases to his healing. No, Brightwing's healing included Blink Heal. Okay, and that was a much larger portion than 8%. However, this doesn't mean you're gimping yourself as bad on healing if you're picking up Emerald Wind, which was Blizzard's whole idea with the thing. Okay, I love heroes which have 2 heroic abilities. Okay, like Zagara only recently got another kind of like decent viable option. We always used to play with Maw, and we still play with Maw. But again, anyway, heroes which are stuck on 1 heroic ability kind of suck. Okay, what's the point of having talents and an option if you are gonna go for one all the time? Now, in Brightwing's case specifically, the problem with Emerald Dream, now this is an immensely powerful heroic ability because again, it gives you so much zoning, so much control of a specific area. Let me give you an example. For example, you are trying to capture the final tribute, let's say, on Cursed Hollow, okay? You get a Brightwing up front, you start channeling your Emerald Wind, okay? And you're gonna keep everybody locked out on that specific zone and you're gonna be able to capture it, theoretically, okay? It can work like that quite nicely. Boss steals, there you go. Boss steals, for example, you can use it to that effect as well, or boss not only steals but also boss securing if you want to, okay? The problem with Emerald Wind is that usually Brightwing needs to get into a good position to actually cast a successful Emerald Wind, and Brightwing is extremely squishy, and by not taking up Blink Heal you give up a whole lot of survivability, not because of the healing but the actual blink. Okay, you can juke enemies like that, and Brightwing could get out of really bad situations with one very good blink because again, the range is huge. Blink to a minion, for example. Okay, so you're not giving up healing, you're giving up survivability as well. So that's an issue. There you go. And again, to cast Emerald Wind, Brightwing kind of has to get out of position if your team protects you. If it doesn't, I like the fact they're making Emerald Wind more interesting to the butterfly. Lily, Water Dragon, damage increased by approximately 60%, and mana cost has been reduced from 100 to 50. A buff to Lily's Water Dragon, more damage for Water Dragon. Okay, the choice to have on Lily is Jug of 1000 Bros. Okay, so the Jug of 1000 Bros is the choice to have on Lily. The problem with Lily is that why doesn't she see a lot of competitive play? She's got a lot of healing, she's got blinds, she's got slows, she can amplify damage. Okay, the problem is her ulti. That's the problem with Lily. It can be interrupted so very easily. And if you look at actual competitive play, you'll see that everybody's got a stun or something. You know, you need some CC. We are no longer in the stun lock meta when every single hero you had to have some form of CC. We're no longer there. However, we still run CC heavy teams today, and that is the problem with Lily. If the enemy team doesn't have anything to interrupt that heroic ability, that Jug, then okay, Lily will work great. If not, not. Water Dragon, Lily as a backup support, nah. I don't think so. Malfurion, Twilight Dream, now passively increases Malfurion's mana regeneration by 1.5 mana per second. Now, I like what they did with Emerald Wind, but this seems really pointless to me. Okay, by level 10, 1.5 mana per second. I don't think it's gonna matter that much. This won't really change anything for Malfurion from my point of view. At least if you're gonna go for Twilight Dream, you're gonna go for other reasons other than the mana regen. Okay, no. The choice to have obviously is the healing heroic, the what's it called? Tranquility. Okay, that's what you want to have for Malfurion, the AoE healing. It's sustained healing. Okay, so if you're fighting for something like a Lunara who have sustained damage, not bursty, then Malfurion is kind of like a soft counter to that, okay, and Brightwing as well in that specific situation. Again, you're gonna pick up Twilight Dream when, I don't know, I have a weird build like Engager Malfurion would blink into the middle of the enemy team into Twilight Dream, but again, I don't think this will change that much for Malfurion. Sorry, I'm trying to look at all the possibilities, but I'm just not finding a realistic situation where this actually matters for Jack. Tyrande Starfall, damage per second increased by approximately 20. Is it 30? Is it 20? It's like 30. Okay, 30% cooldown reduction, 20% from 100 seconds to 80 seconds, and mana cost has also been reduced. Now, the choice on Tyrande obviously is the other one, Shadowstalk. Why? Is it the healing? No, it's not just the healing. Okay, it's not just the healing. The healing is a small amount, is a good amount of healing. It can save you in the right situation, but right there, it can save you. It can save an ally fleeing away, okay, or running away. He's being chased by something, a well-placed Shadowstalk from a very good Tyrande player who has map awareness and blah blah blah, etc. Okay, will save that target, but also this is a huge engage tool. Okay, you're gonna cloak the enemy team and you're gonna engage upon your foes. Okay, that's a big deal. Okay, again, for Shadowstalk. Shadowstalk has many uses. It can save, it can heal, it can help initiate. It's a wonderful heroic ability. Will this mean we'll start picking up Starfall? It's a lot of extra damage, I'll give it that. Okay, it's a lot of extra damage, nice cooldown reduction, but again, maybe you want to make something like super heavy AoE and just get everybody in the center with a wombo combo and a Starfall and a Phoenix and everybody and all whatnot. It can work like that, but again, from my point of view, Shadowstalk has way many more uses, much more utility than Starfall. There you go. Uther Divine Storm stun duration has been increased from 1.5 seconds to 1.75 seconds. I don't think this matters as long as the actual range of Divine Storm is not increased. Again, you can see we're kind of going backwards now. I don't know how many of you have been around since Uther used to play with Divine Storm. Uther in the old days used to charge in with Sprint, okay, and just Divine Storm everybody. Okay, that was a huge initiation. It could have been countered by something like a Stitch's Gorge. When you see Uther running in, he would just gorge him up. Currently, Uther only plays with Divine Shield, mostly, okay? I don't think this will change much. Again, I want to see more range on Divine Storm before we can talk about Uther actually using it on a regular basis. Warrior ATC stage dive damage has been increased by approximately 60%. Now, there used to be, I don't know if there still are, tactics with ATC that he would go on his own, push a lane, and when a fight broke out, he would just stage dive in, okay? You would get the farm XP on a lane, push a lane, okay, with ATC, and he would just be boom, dead when a team fight started, okay? So theoretically, you would have been fine like that. I kind of seen such strategies die out in time. I haven't seen people using it anymore in Hero League, Team League, not even in the streams, okay? It's kind of died out. Will this change that? I highly doubt it. Somehow, I highly doubt it, because again, you are putting it on a comparison tool with Mosh Pit. With the Mosh Pit, okay, there's no comparison. Obviously, these are to be used in very different team strategies, but there you go. I don't think we're gonna give out Mosh Pit when it comes to ATC. Joanna, Falling Sword damage increase, more damage for Falling Sword. I don't think we're gonna be giving up Blessed Shield. This is approximately a 50% increase in damage. That's nice, but again, I don't want to be up in the air. The problem with Falling Sword, as I outlined many times, is that you're up in the air. Okay, you are up in the air, not frontlining for your team, not protecting your squishies, okay, not actually doing what a tank is supposed to be doing while you're up in the air. If you wouldn't be so much up in the air, it would be more like 0.5 seconds in the air and fast travel speed and boom, onto them. That would be something. Like it is, no, because again, you're practically putting yourself out of the fight, the main tank, Joanna. That seems kind of counterintuitive, doesn't it? Muradin, Haymaker, damage dealt to the secondary targets increased from 25% to 100% damage of Haymaker's primary target damage. Now, it is true that Avatar has been starting to lose some of its popularity simply because of the micro stun removal. I prefer Haymaker. Okay, I'm probably gonna piss off a lot of people, but I prefer Haymaker in my Muradin gameplay. You are not as tanky without Avatar. Okay, that huge amount of health for the 20 seconds did matter on Muradin in those clutch moments. However, Haymaker is the playmaker and can actually make really spectacular plays. Jump behind their backline into Q, okay, your Stormbolt into stun into Haymaker, and just mess up their whole positioning like that. The added damage is more of a cherry on top. Okay, the targets you actually hit with your projectile, let's say your Vala is gonna be a projectile, maybe you're gonna hit a very low Li-Ming and you're gonna kill it, because again, 100% of the normal Haymaker's damage is gonna be done down to the secondary targets. So yeah, it's a bit of a cherry on top. I wish Haymaker gains more popularity because I absolutely love the ability a lot more than Avatar. Okay, big dwarf with the blah blah blah. Yeah, it's cool, but we got bored of it. We've been playing with the Avatar for months now. There you go. Alright, let's move on. Bug fixes. Okay. Oh, we are done. Okay, guys, let me know in the comment section down below what do you think about these changes. It's normal. Okay, I expected a lot of changes to the rework heroes. What surprised me is there are still no Dehaka changes. I'm expecting maybe next week, okay? Maybe next week we will get some Dehaka changes. We also know that we might be getting the Anubarak and the Arthas changes, if I'm not mistaken, coming with a Tracer patch. Again, a big patch with some hero reworks. We know about Arthas and Anubarak, if I'm not mistaken. Again, overall, okay, if I'm gonna see the picture overall, I like what they're doing. I like that they're buffing underused heroic abilities. I like the fact that they're nerfing Illidan. Listen, it had to be done. I know some of you love Illidan, but when he's first banned for spec, there's an issue. Okay, and some balancing should have been done to him. I don't even mind the Li-Ming Nerf so much. Overall, yeah, overall it's a good balance patch, especially considering that finally we get the nerf to Mighty Gust. Alright guys, that's gonna do it for now. I babbled on long enough. Again, let me know in the comment section down below what you think about all these changes. As always, my name has been Leyzar. Thank you guys for watching. Like, favorite, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the content, and I'll see you again soon.